Greetings and salutations, everybody. I am Scojo Insta360. I swore I was never gonna do it, and yet I'm doing it. I said in my previous series that I wasn't gonna get into the studio software because I just like to edit in Premiere. That's what I do for a living. But I lied. The more I thought about it, the more I thought, you know, that's what I do. I video edit. People should know at least how to work within the studio. Not everybody can afford Premiere. So I'm gonna walk you through Studio. I've had a couple days to play around with it. Overall, pretty decent impressions if you're not trying to get super complicated. So let's dig into it. Let's just literally open up the whole thing starting from scratch. So I'm on a Mac. We're gonna go to Insta360 Studio for One X. Double click and boom. I mean, it opens up fast. So I'm gonna make the window a little bigger. Drag it over here. Now, I gotta get some footage in. Best way to do that for me personally is to go to, I have a footage folder, some stuff I shot along the Deschutes River the other day. I've already dumped it into a folder called footage. The way to get the footage off is to plug your camera, the USB from your camera into the computer, and then turn on the camera. It'll recognize it. You highlight all of the files and then you drag them onto your desktop. It will take a while to transfer all the files over. So just, you know, do that when you get home, start it uploading. Don't count on it being done super fast. But as you can see, what I've got now is an entire folder of both photos and video. Now, how do I know the difference? Well, A, I know I took the photos. I was there. But when I get back, photos, as you can see, that's the IMG, also ends with the INSP. So those are my photos. When you find your videos, VID, big shocker, and INSV as the files. Now, to import all this stuff, I just go to Command A or Apple A or whatever it is you have on your thing, the shortcut that's select all, and that gives me all of my footage. Now I'm just gonna drag and drop into Studio. That's a lot of files right there. Now it does take a little bit of time depending on the speed of your computer. Keep in mind, again, this is 360 information, so these files are much larger than they would be if they were traditional 2D. So it's gonna take a little while to chew on it. As you can see, here we go. It's doing some moving right along. Why don't we talk a little bit about the layout before we get into it. I'll kind of give you the 30,000 foot view of just the overall operation. Let's talk a little bit about the layout. First of all, over here on the left, that is where all the footage that I just dumped in is. At this point, I might be tempted to look at everything and name it. I love naming my files so that when I'm editing, I can pull things in fast. But since this is only a one clip at a time editor, we'll just stick with how things are. All right, let's see. The view mode, that's where you default to, and that's where you use photo mode. The free capture mode does not work for photos. That's for video, and you need that in order to work for video. But just remember that photos you use in view mode and free capture you use in video mode. One other thing to keep in mind is that you can select to have their logo put in your camera. I don't know why. Why would I want to put their logo in there? Let's take a look at these photos. Now, the interesting thing about these photos is, see that? Right there, that is not a photo that looks like it was made to be made, does it? Now, this photo is in flat mode currently, which gives me almost nothing that I can do with it other than save it as it is. So I'm gonna go over here to the left and click on this little thing. And let's just go with, let's go with default for now. That gives it basically a kind of a bit of a fisheye effect. Natural, I like the natural view because it's just, you know, more of a sort of looks natural, hence the name. But let's just go back to default and we'll get to the other ones in just a second. Now, does that look like I'm trying to take that picture? Well, I'm warning you a little bit that not only the app on the phone can be extremely hard to read because the font size is so small, but the display when you're outdoors is almost completely useless. So I took a photo of myself, not meaning to. And as a matter of fact, I took a lot of photos I wasn't meaning to take. The display is so hard to read. This is the inside of my hat. I had stuck the camera in there so I could at least try to read the display. Do I look happy? Not particularly happy at that moment. What's this little black line here, you're asking? We'll get a little bit more into this, but let's just quickly go to it. That's the venture case, and what's happening is you're seeing kind of the gasket around it, and so easy fix on this, and it's actually even improved since the previous version. You just go over here to venture case and click on it. Now, that gets rid of the the little gasket thing, as you can see right along this line, that is just an effect that can happen two ways. One is that one lens is dirty and the other one isn't, but the other problem is that one lens is facing down and one lens is facing up, so they're not getting the same amount of light. So you're just gonna have to kind of play around with that, and you may never be able to get completely rid of it. But look at that. I mean, you got full 360 motion of my hat. Let's see if we can find a photo that's a little bit more fun. Let's see, does that look like I tried to take that photo? Look at that face, I'm like, dang it. Let's see, oh, here I took a photo while looking at the app. So are you getting the point? Insta360, you guys, you gotta give us something that makes it easier to run this thing outdoors. It's really, really tough. All right, now we're finally on a photo. Let's break down photos. Because I like the photo editing in here, and I'm a video guy, so normally the photos would not be my bailiwick, but let's just break it down. So that's me along the side of the Deschutes River. Let's stitch for the venture case. Boom. Now, there is a venture case calibration, stitching calibration. That is if it doesn't look quite the way you want it to, and it's mostly for video, but just making you aware that you can try to recalibrate if it doesn't look good. In this case, looks great. Right here, a little bit of a lens flare. That is an artifact that you're gonna have to just sort of learn to live with, and it's not constant. In fact, it's not very common, but when it shows up in your footage, there's not very much you're gonna be able to do about it. I'm not gonna get into the science of it all. You can probably find a different video about that. But so we've got a little bit of a lens flare here. But see, here I am. Now, the selfie stick, as you can see, has disappeared. That's why it's the invisible selfie stick. And I have a 360 picture of me standing along the side of the Deschutes River, along a river that's gone down so far. There's normally water here, so you see all these little holes and all that stuff, and those are all naturally made. And I'm obviously having a good day. Now, I could just save this as I want, so let's show you how you do that. So in order to save my picture, I just come down to here and I click on picture. And it gives me a place to go. Let's just say for footage, I think, I have a folder for pictures. I don't like to keep my photos and my videos in the same place. So I'm gonna go to pictures and I'm gonna click, let's just say Scojo River, cool guy. And we'll hit that and saves it for me in my pictures folder. Okay. Now we've got a nice little 360 photo. You can share that on Facebook. You can share that on, I don't know, I believe Instagram is not doing that, but Facebook. YouTube is supporting video that's 360. But let's have some fun with this photo. Looks good as it is, but let's go into a couple of different views. Again, there's the natural view. To me, that just sort of flattened things out. And I think this is sort of my default view for a fully immersive photo, but you can also do what they call kind of an over capture or reframing, where it makes it into a flat picture. And the benefits to that are, one of the most popular is called the Tiny Planet. I go here, I click on Tiny Planet, boom! I already have a Tiny Planet. I just clicked the button. So I've already got my Tiny Planet. I can do anything I want within the Tiny Planet. In fact, I can even make what they call a reverse planet. Let's see there, reverse planet. There's me on a reverse planet. Or, I mean, there's with the Tiny Planet mode, you have full 360 access, but it's been made flat. So you still have access to all that data to just play around and have fun with. Tiny Planet still has not gotten tired for me. I know a lot of people go, oh, there's another Tiny Planet photo. I love Tiny Planets. And speaking of Tiny Planets, check out Ben Claremont if you haven't already checked out his channel. He's the 360 guru that I learned from. But I got my Tiny Planet. Okay, cool. Let's go on to this crystal ball. This one tires out a little bit. It makes a crystal ball. What can you do with it? Well, maybe make something you could laminate as a button, or just, something fun for social media. It gets kind of old. There's not a whole heck of a lot you can do within it, but it works. So now we've gone through all the modes of the photos. So get your photos in there, have some fun. It's just editing photos in this thing is a blast. I highly recommend, even for video people like me, get into taking some 360 photos. All right, now let's go off to the video portion of this thing, which is sort of my bailiwick. I do edit video for a living, but I do all my stuff in Premiere. We're gonna try to do it in Studio, which for video-wise, I've been through this a couple of days, and it's pretty good. Now keep in mind, correct me if I'm wrong, I can only edit one clip in this. So if I want to do a sequence, I'm stuck. This is really just for like editing socials, or if you just have one really cool shot and you want to play around with it. But if you want to do multiple clips, you're going to have to get something like DaVinci Resolve or Premiere, like what I'm in, some kind of software that will help you do multiple sequences. This is just one clip of video. So let's just kind of pull up a video clip here. I know there's one that was super boring, but it was a nice long clip, so I can kind of walk you through it. Here we go. Now this is me driving in my car. You see those little black lines? That's the venture case again. That's how it looks in video. And how are we going to get rid of that? Of course, we are going to go to venture case. Now to me, that looks pretty good. If I didn't like it, I could go to stitching calibration, and it would basically, it just kind of clicks and does its own recalibrating of the thing. I don't know that it's really any better. To me, the original looked pretty good. So now we've got us in 360. Couple things we need to look at. One is there's this use flow state stabilization. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's built into the camera as well, so this might be redundant. I just leave it on because why the hell not? And you'll see why it's so great, because the stabilization in these cameras, for the most part, is really, really good. Now, how am I gonna view this video? I'm not really getting very far other than, you know, I got a 360 video that looks kind of psychedelic. We need to go into free capture mode. So click on free capture. That puts me into the mode where I can, woo, spin around. Hey, who's that handsome guy? So now, let's see. Well, let's just play this a little bit of this for you, because I want to show you this stabilization. I just took the selfie stick, which again, it's an invisible selfie stick. Do you see it? I don't see it. Love that part of this camera. And now I'm just driving down the road at about 30, 35 miles an hour, and look how smooth that is. I mean, that's good. That's good stuff. There's very few cameras that can match up with a 360 camera. So now this gets a little bit long. I mean, I was really going to do this as a hyperlapse where, you know, I speed up and then slow down. Bad news is, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I have not found any way to mess with time within this program. In other words, like if I shot something at 100 frames per second, normally it makes it go like this. But it just plays back in normal speed here. So you lose a big part of what I like to do, shooting in slow motion, and also then being able to do a hyperlapse where you like speed things up and then go back to normal. None of that, from what I can tell, is available in the software. I think that's a major problem, because that's part of the fun of all this stuff, but it's still got some really cool stuff. The thing I want to do now is start do an in point and an out point, because I don't want you to have to watch me for 10 minutes driving my car. So let's just, I want to start right about here. See that, that little yield sign right there? I like having that be the beginning of where I'm going to go. Now I could either use a shortcut. You can see these shortcuts are up here. The go to trim start point is that thing. I normally use shortcuts. Shortcuts are great. Memorize these things, but because of this tutorial, I'm going to use the physical button to do it. So I'm going to come down here to that thing and click that as my in point. So that's where the video is now going to start. Let's find a cool place for it to end. I'm going to be going around a roundabout, kind of want to use that as my action point. And then let's just kind of go a little bit down the street, and let's just end there. Again, I could use the shortcut, but instead I'm going to go to the trim out, or your out point, and hit that. That cuts my video down so you don't have to watch me driving my car for 10 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to play around within the video clip. I think that as I go around here, why don't we, as I start going around, why don't we pan around to me as I'm driving my car? Okay, so if you don't know about keyframes, I'll do a quick and dirty on it. Keyframes are what tells your editing system where to go. So we're gonna wanna go straight to the beginning and hit this keyframe button, this little yellow button here, and that will give you a starting point. You're gonna, especially with this kind of software, just start off by having a keyframe. As you move through space, it's just gonna stay where it is until you tell it to move. So I'm just about to go in a roundabout. This is where I want my motion to start to turn. Before I do that, I want to again tell the camera or the video editing system where it is that we're starting point. So I'm making another keyframe that has the same data. You don't need to know that much about it other than just hit keyframe before you want to start to move. And let's say I want it to pan across to me until right about here. This is where 360 is so much fun. All I gotta do is click and drag to where I want to look at my handsome mug. Let's say I want to go there. Okay, Now I hit another keyframe, because remember, keyframes tell the system where you are. So I hit another keyframe. Let's take a look at that. It's a minor little thing, but so we're gonna start out in the car. As I come to the turn, or roundabout, let's turn. There's me. I'm so cool. Now let's just turn back around, okay? So let's hit another keyframe. Again, before you have to add a keyframe where you want the motion to start, otherwise it'll start at the previous keyframe. Let's just spin around. Let's see how we want to do that. Let's just say about here. We'll spin, woo, all the way around. And I don't know, let's see, should we go from well, let's kind of go like that, right there. Okay, now I gotta hit keyframe again. And now I've got a little bit of a sequence. Let's take a look at it. Again, this is the beauty of 360 is I've got any angle I want. So off I go, I'm coming into the roundabout. I turn towards me. And now we're gonna spin around. And now we've finished our clip. You know, is it the most exciting clip in the world? No, it gives you an idea how to edit it. Go off there, jump off a cliff with a parachute. It'll look a lot cooler than me driving around a car, but that's what I have today. The other cool thing about this is that I can use those little tiny planets and all those other fun things to add to my video. So right now I'm in that basically flat view, but let's say that by the time I reach me, I want to be in a tiny planet. What I'll do is click on that keyframe right there. And then I come down to here. So now here are those viewing modes. That's fisheye, that's tiny planet, that's crystal ball, and that's the natural view, right? Well, let's just go to tiny planet. Oh, there's my tiny planet. That looks pretty cool. Again, tiny planets haven't gotten tired for me. So what that's gonna do now is that's gonna create a keyframe that will transition to tiny planet. So let's watch how that goes. Driving, coming up on the roundabout, gonna go to me in tiny planet. Oh, I'm driving a tiny planet, I come back out again, and we spin. And see, now we've taken what was a boring clip of just me driving down the street, and we've added some action to it. You can go so far from here, but I'm not gonna bore you with that. You just need to get in and start digging around on this. Let's go to the final spot that you're gonna at least wanna take a look at. I'm not as impressed with the transitions that they have. Transitions don't make as much sense in 360 a lot of times as they do in normal video, but and especially the transitions here. How you get a transition is, let's say, as we're doing my tiny planet, we come up, and this is between the two keyframes. You click on the transition area, and that gives you the transition mode. And then you can use these ones like it defaults to smooth dissolve, which is just normal. It makes it look fine. Slip in, fade out, fade in, slip out, all these little guys. Slip means basically to go fast, and then fade means to go slow. So the slip in, fade out would take it so that when you're here, it's gonna start quickly, and when you're here, it's gonna fade. So it's, well, let's put one in there. We'll do the slip in, fade out. So this will mean that the transition will go fast at the beginning and then slow at the end. You judge for yourself. I'll get back to you on the other side here. So you notice a little bit of an increase in speed and then a little bit of a slow, maybe better roll in there. Again, I guess the transitions to me are maybe worth it in some circumstances. I don't think they're all that great, but already you've got your 360 video set up to shoot and export, and you can bring now this into Premiere or other editing software. You can do a lot of stuff in here. You just got to be prepared. You can only do one clip at a time. So you've got your video done now. Now you can either hit save, file, save, and that will save the clip as it is. But if you want to make it into like an MP4, you go to export, and it will give me 1920 by 1080, which is your standard HD. I will make this a file name. Let's just say Scojo River Driving. I've got it set for desktop. You can kind of put it wherever you want just by hitting browse. I'm just going to put it on my desktop for now because I really don't want this clip. It's just for demonstration purposes. And then I hit OK. It takes a little bit of time to render depending on your computer, but now you will have an MP4 that will be on your computer that you can either post to YouTube or take it into Premiere, DaVinci, all that other fun stuff. Now you're cooking with gas. Okay, well that's it for now. That's kind of the basics. What I would appreciate is anybody who's watching this who has other suggestions. I just am now learning this software, so I'm sure I'm missing all kinds of stuff. You may have questions. Be sure and send those my way. Oh, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and if you're super cool, hit that little button on the side, and you will get an update every time I create fresh content. Thank you so much, everybody. Send me your suggestions. I'm going to keep cranking on this. In fact, I'm flying to Seattle tomorrow to produce a traditional video, but I'm taking the 360 with me. We will have SCOJO in 360 from Seattle in 360 coming up soon. Peace out.